Hello there, kia ora. How data is presented is really important. Presenting information, or data framing as it's known, can significantly alter the perception of reality around us, even when the raw data stays the same. And being an election year, we're going to see people do this all the time. Like this presentation from the National Party yesterday, which is also being pushed by some of its MPs. Oh, hey, quick footnote for you here. Did you know that when MPs do this, take a piece of content that might be on their party page and share it as though they are an individual sharing that content for the first time, you can report that as spam or inauthentic behavior to most platforms, because that's the kind of action that scammers use when they create multiple pages and try and attack people in like marketplace or community pages. So it's something that the platforms take really seriously as a behavior. Reporting it as spam or that inauthentic behavior raises a red flag that means that the reach on those posts are going to be severely limited. It's not likely to get them removed, but it's an action that you can take that does limit the impact of disinformation, like this post that we saw Chris Bishop share. Or these ones from the day before from some Auckland MPs where they listed 5 things that have happened since they got into power, not actually taking credit for them, but implying that you should give them credit for them. That's disinformation. And you can report that as spam when you see it. Anyway, data framing is a key tool for shaping public perception. Media often do this, and politicians often do this as well. They might change the type of graph, for example. This data in line graph form shows that a significant drop in RAM raids that National keeps taking credit for actually occurred under the previous Labour government due to changes that the previous Labour government brought in, and then it went back up a little bit under the National government. Same data set, different framing and presentation. Hell, the Herald actually did this last year, ironically, when they did a story on trust in the media and placed their own name at the top of the other media outlets it was tied with, not alphabetical like the rest of the list, creating an impression that they were more trusted than the research found. So this election, we can expect to see this kind of fuckery pop up a lot, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that there was a resource available to help people cut through some of the tricks that we are bound to see. And that is up and running now. It's a website that you can go to called election2026.co.nz. The website is designed with a range of tools to help people when it comes to the decision-making processes that we all face this year. It includes 2 different types of political compass. One asks you to rate the importance of a policy and statements from various parties and helps you find the party most aligned with your values. The other lets you pick already announced policies, and then it tells you which parties most align with your choices. There's explainers looking at all sorts of topics, from how the propaganda model works here in Aotearoa media to how much of our media posts on Facebook push a specific right-wing bias. There's even a tool to help you work out the bias of the media that you consume, because knowledge is power, and knowing these things is a great way of being aware of how it impacts your worldview and how others will try and manipulate that. There's opinions and links, research into everything from the asymmetry of influence that I did last year that showed the imbalance our media gives AstroTurf groups to threats to democracy identified by national security organizations. There's policy audits that use research, international data and experiences to break down announced policies and work out if they'll do what's promised on the tin. There's fact checks looking at individual claims made by various MPs and an outcome tracker that takes a look at almost 200 decisions made by the coalition, from forcing the referendum on Māori wards that saw 54% of voters in local elections where older conservative Pākehā homeowners tend to be the most active voters, to retain the wards, through to the loss of data literacy competency that comes from scrapping trials and education that they don't see the value of. There's data trackers showing we've reached record unemployment levels, we have more gang members than police, and people are leaving the country to find a better life elsewhere. We know that emotions and feelings are often manipulated to win elections. How many people do you know that voted for a coalition party last time, citing they just wanted a change after all? And how many of us are still mad at the coalition for something that they've done? Whether that's cancelling pay equity claims in their tracks, gutting frontline services, their constant attacks on Māoridom, beneficiaries, the poor, students, young people, parents, the disabled, the rainbow community. They lied about how much we'd be getting in tax cuts, or their laser focus on the cost of living, or anything they deem as woke because they can't get their head around an issue. And we know media and some really stupid entitled right-wing commentators will try and influence the election. How often have you seen this year content from an AstroTurf group published without due diligence, or even just asking why we should care what an AstroTurf group with mysterious funders and connections to dodgy behaviour in industries and people has to say? How often does the board chair of a state media outlet have to kowtow to the coalition about news that holds them accountable before we realise the media bias that we deal with is one that seemingly favours the status quo and runs serious risks for the ability of journalists to properly hold power to account that impacts how we vote? But if we can focus on facts, on data, and on doing our best to focus on reality, then we can see voters make more informed choices this year. So you can check out that website at www.election2026.co.nz now, or you can follow the link that's in my link tree in my bio. And keep popping back as we get more policies, outcomes, and data. The site's going to be updated. And remember, none of this is going to make a damn bit of difference if you can't fucking vote. So check your enrollment details, because this year the coalition changed the rules to make it harder for you to have your say at the election. And you need to be registered in advance before you can go in and vote this year. Oh, hey there, podcast listeners. Thanks for checking out today's podcast, whether that's on video or audio. I really appreciate it. And I did finally get around to doing a podcast end tag, which I've been meaning to do for a while instead of just taking you onto the Facebook version. So while you're here, why not hit that subscribe button so that you can get updates coming in directly every time there's a new episode uploaded. Just seems like a really simple way to keep up to date with all of the crazy that's going on. So yeah, give that a shot, and I'll talk to you soon.